The man is the most terrifying criminal in the world. He claims to steal the underclothes of all women in the kingdom and have intimate interaction with countless females. What's more, when he encounters an unconscious girl, his first reaction is not to save her, but to touch her body. It is also such a despicable person who will take action without hesitation when he sees innocent people bullied by the army. Why does this man have two completely different sides? Let's get it revealed. 10 years ago, the 7 deadly sins, the strongest order of holy knights, suddenly rebelled, and they have gone from heroes to the most evil criminals. 10 years later, in a village of the kingdom, rumor has it that a member of the 7 deadly sins recently arrives in the village. But most people don't believe it, thinking that members of the 7 deadly sins won't come to such a remote place. One day, a knight dressed in shabby armor comes to the local tavern, believing that the knight is a member of the 7 deadly sins. People flee the tavern in fear, but the owner of the tavern is not afraid of the knight, who directly faints after entering the tavern. At this time, the tavern owner discovers that the knight turns out to be a beautiful girl. When the tavern owner checks on her injuries, he touches her body. After the beautiful girl wakes up, she feels very shy. The beautiful girl is named Elizabeth, and she is not a member of the 7 deadly sins. She's here to find the 7 deadly sins. The soldiers hear that a knight, who seems to be a member of the 7 deadly sins, has arrived at the tavern, so they come to the tavern to search it. The tavern owner comes out with his pet, a pig named Hawk, to greet them. Meanwhile, Elizabeth escapes through the back door of the tavern. Soldiers notice Elizabeth and begin chasing her. To help Elizabeth, the tavern owner and Hawk fight against the soldiers, and eventually save her. After that, Elizabeth tells them that she is actually the 3rd princess of the kingdom. She escaped from the palace in order to save the kingdom, which is now controlled by the warlike Holy Knights. And the Holy Knights cause the people of the kingdom to live a miserable life. But the Holy Knights are a team of the strongest knights in the country, and only the legendary 7 deadly sins have the potential to defeat them. So the 3rd princess hopes that the 7 deadly sins will defeat the Holy Knights and save the kingdom. Just then, a candidate of the Holy Knights suddenly attacks them. The candidates are not real Holy Knights, but people whose strength is close to that of the Holy Knights. Even so, they are also able to cut off an entire forest with a single slash. Seeing that the enemy is so powerful, Elizabeth, afraid of injuring the tavern owner, decides to surrender, but the candidate still wants to kill her. Just then, the tavern owner rescues her again. Elizabeth discovers that the tavern owner has a tattoo symbolizing anger, which indicates that he is Meliodas, the leader of the 7 deadly sins. The candidate also recognizes Meliodas and immediately attacks him, but is soon defeated by Meliodas. Meliodas also wants to find his former teammates, so he joins Elizabeth's team. Together, they will search for the other members of the 7 deadly sins. At this time, a giant pig comes to pick up Meliodas, and it turns out that Meliodas' tavern is open on the back of the giant pig, which is Hawk's mother. Now Meliodas and his companions embark on a new journey. When Elizabeth meets Meliodas, she feels that Meliodas is not as evil as legend has it. She asks Meliodas what crime he has committed. Meliodas jokes that he stole the underclothes of all the women in the kingdom and had intimate interactions with countless women. It seems that Meliodas does not want to tell Elizabeth the truth. Soon after, they come to a small village and find that the land has dried up. In the village, almost all the men are trying to draw a sword out, which was inserted here by a holy knight. The mana of the sword keeps the groundwater from flowing, which is why people want to draw the sword. It turns out that a holy knight came to the village and tasted the local wine before. The holy knight said the wine here tasted bad, just like urine. A naughty kid was unhappy with the holy knight's comments and responded to him with a prank. So the holy knight sealed the local water source with his sword. Besides, he sent soldiers to inform the villagers that if they don't draw the sword out before sunset, they will increase the tax rate tenfold. All the villagers feel desperate because they fail to draw the sword out even though all of them join forces. Just then, Meliodas appears and easily draws the sword out. The water source of the village is restored in an instant, and the villagers feel very happy about being helped. When the owner of the sword, the holy knight Gilthunder, learns about this, he immediately guesses that it was a member of the 7 deadly sins who drew the sword out. So Gilthunder casts magic to throw a spear at Meliodas' tavern. Meliodas, feeling the mana of the spear, comes outside the tavern to take it. After that, he throws the spear back at Gilthunder's castle and grazes Gilthunder's face. Then he intends to leave the village because he doesn't want to put the village in danger. Plus he has heard that there is one of his former teammates nearby. There is a forest full of monsters nearby, and no one dares to enter it usually. When Meliodas enters it, he steals Elizabeth's underclothes. Later, they encounter a group of pigs who look exactly like Hawk and can even speak like it. They then turn into Elizabeth and attack Meliodas. After dodging the attack, Meliodas asks them who the real Elizabeth is, and they all say they are Elizabeth. So Meliodas asks them to make some moves, and if they can't, they are imposters. He first makes them do some strange moves, such as acting like a spoiled child and touching their bodies. Then he asks everyone to jump, but the real Elizabeth is embarrassed to do so because she lost her panties. Meliodas immediately attacks the others. The fake Elizabeth immediately transforms into a monster and runs away. They flee back to their owner, informing her that an enemy is coming. Their owner is a beautiful girl from the giant clan, and her name is Diane. When Diane wakes up, she affectionately calls Meliodas the leader. It turns out that Diane is also a member of the 7 deadly sins, and she symbolizes the sin of envy. Diane angrily throws Meliodas to the ground after hearing that Meliodas is traveling with Elizabeth. It turns out that she likes Meliodas very much and feels jealous. Meliodas has to explain that Elizabeth is not his girlfriend and that they travel together because they have the same goal. Diane has been sleeping in the forest and ordered the monsters which can transform to protect her. After Meliodas appears, she decides to leave the forest and travel with him. Just then, Gilthunder attacks them. 10 years ago, the 7 deadly sins met the assassinated leader of the Holy Knights in the capital and lost consciousness as well as memories. By the time they woke up, they became the criminal who killed the leader of the Holy Knights. Gilthunder is the son of the leader of the Holy Knights and was trained by Meliodas as a child, and they used to have a close relationship. But now Gilthunder tells Meliodas that he wants revenge, and that he has become stronger than the 7 deadly sins. In the battle, Gilthunder shows his progress with strength, and he successfully slashes Meliodas. Meliodas falls to the ground injured and wants to know about his companions before he dies. So Gilthunder tells him what he knows. After listening to it, Meliodas immediately returns to normal. It turns out that he just pretended to be seriously injured to gain information. After that, Diane instantly throws Gilthunder into the distance, ending the fight. Meliodas learns from Gilthunder that Ban, the sin of greed in the 7 deadly sins, is in a prison, which is guarded by several holy knights. When they learn that Meliodas and the others want to free Ban, they decide to launch an attack. At this time, Meliodas is being treated in the city near the prison because he has been injured in a previous fight. A large number of flying insects suddenly appear in the city. These bugs are controlled by a holy knight and are capable of firing highly corrosive venom. Diane, whose ability is to control the earth, summons a number of stone pillars that kill most of the flying insects to protect Meliodas. After that, she chases after the holy knight. At this time, Meliodas is attacked by another holy knight, who wants to take away Meliodas' sword while he is unconscious from his injuries. Meliodas wakes up immediately. The holy knight does not dare to fight Meliodas and has to flee. Meliodas then catches up with the holy knight, whose ability is invisibility. So Meliodas lures him into an old house, where the holy knight will make a sound when he steps on the floor. In this way, Meliodas is able to find him. The holy knight is quickly defeated by Meliodas, but he once again escapes. Meliodas and Elizabeth then rush to the prison, and on the way, they meet Diane. However, Diane is under the illusion and takes Meliodas as a holy knight, attacking him. Meanwhile, Ban hears that Meliodas is coming to rescue him, so he defeats many guards and is about to escape from prison. But there is still one holy knight who does not go out and remains in prison guarding Ban. In order to prevent Ban from escaping, he directly pierces him with a nail. Luckily, Ban doesn't die, and he directly takes out the nail, easily defeating the holy knight. Meliodas is still fighting Diane, and they are both deluded by illusions, seeing each other as enemies. Elizabeth meets the holy knight who can create illusions, and she constantly attacks him, who knows that Elizabeth is a princess. The holy knight does not kill her, but keeps knocking Elizabeth down with his staff. Elizabeth finds an opportunity and steals the bell from the staff. This bell is the cause of illusions. Immediately after, Meliodas and Diane regain consciousness, and they fight with all their might, defeating all the holy knights soon. Meliodas then comes to the prison and destroys it along with Ban. After Ban joins the team, they are going to the next destination. Ban once drank the fountain of youth guarded by the fairy princess and became immortal, so he will not die even if he is pierced by a nail, and he can recover in an instant. But the next destination they are going to is Necropolis, which only the dead can enter, because Gilthunder said that King, the sin of sloth in the 7 deadly sins, has been killed. Legend has it that in a deserted village, there is an entrance to the necropolis. When Meliodas and the others come to the village, they really enter the necropolis through the entrance, and there is a mysterious young boy who follows them. In addition, a holy knight named Guila also comes to the village. When she learns that Meliodas entered the necropolis, she directly pierces her heart. In the necropolis, the mysterious boy fights Ban. During the battle, he reveals his identity, and he is king. The original king was fat, but that was just a disguise. 10 years ago, after the disbandment of the 7 deadly sins, King decided to return to his hometown, only to find that his hometown had been destroyed. King's hometown is the forest where the Fountain of Youth is located, and he is actually the king of the fairy race. Previously, King knew that Ban became immortal, but at first, he did not know where Ban obtained the ability to be immortal. After King saw his hometown destroyed, he realized that the person who destroyed his hometown was Ban. He believes that Ban killed his sister, the fairy princess, and became immortal through the Fountain of Youth. From then on, King stopped pretending to be a fat man and began to search for Ban. He wants to avenge his sister. Since King can't kill Ban, he casts magic to turn Ban into a stone. But in fact, Ban did not do anything bad. He didn't snatch the Fountain of Youth and fell in love with the fairy princess. But a demon attacked the forest. He seriously wounded Ban and the fairy princess. And Ban asked the fairy princess to drink the Fountain of Youth so she could survive. But the fairy princess decided to give the Fountain of Youth to Ban with a kiss. In the end, Ban survived, but the fairy princess died. After Ban killed the demons, he left there, and later joined the 7 deadly sins. After Ban turned into a stone, the fairy princess in the necropolis appears. She lifts King's magic and tells him the truth, asking him to stop resenting Ban. Meanwhile, Guela attacks the others. Ban steps forward to fight Guela, but is unable to defeat her for a while. To apologize to Ban, King immediately helps him beat Guela away. The members of the 7 deadly sins all possess unique sacred treasures, but now Meliodas, Diane, and Ban have lost theirs. Only King still has his sacred treasure, which is a spear that can change into different forms. Usually, King will turn the spear into a pillow, but when fighting, he will turn it into a variety of weapons. Eventually, King successfully defeats Guela by turning his spear into many daggers and shooting at her. Guela's soul returns to Earth in an instant. Then the fairy princess sends everyone back to Earth. It turns out that only when the dead and the living are strongly missing each other can the door of the necropolis be opened. And it was the love of Ban and the fairy princess that opened the door of the necropolis. The fairy princess met Ban and solved the misunderstanding between Ban and King, so she is no longer regretful and closes the door of the necropolis. After Guela badly injured herself, she enters the necropolis in a near-death state. In the real world, she is still in a coma. Meliodas ties her up and leaves. After King joins the team, he brings an important piece of intelligence. Now there are suddenly a large number of new recruits in the Holy Knights. The current Holy Knight leader, Hendrickson, often asks some Holy Knight candidates to drink the blood of the demons. The Holy Knight candidate, who was previously defeated by Meliodas, and another Holy Knight candidate, Jericho, both drank the blood of the demons. In the end, only Jericho survives and gains great power to become the new Holy Knight. Soon after, a fighting festival is about to be held in a distant town. The prize for the champion is a huge warhammer, which seems to be Diane's sacred treasure. So Meliodas and his companions come to the town for the fighting festival. Because Elizabeth is too weak and Diane always stands out in the crowd, they stay outside town to be in charge of the logistics. While searching for ingredients, they come across a magic mushroom and accidentally inhale the gas sprayed by it. At this time, in the town, the fighting festival is about to commence. The first match is a qualifier. All fighters are required to enter the arena and ensure that they will not be thrown out of the arena by others. The 8 people who remain in the arena will qualify. After a fierce and chaotic battle, Meliodas, Ban, and King all manage to qualify for the next round. The next match is a knockout round, where the qualifiers are drawn for a one-on-one match, and whoever wins all the matches gets the prize. The first duel after the draw is between a strong man and a mysterious girl in a hat. Strangely, the mysterious girl is wearing Elizabeth's clothes. The strong man is not only physically strong but also possesses magic power, which allows him to create spherical walls. He intends to use the wall to force the girl out of the arena. According to the rules, whoever leaves the arena will fail. However, the mysterious girl has great force. She breaks the wall into pieces with one punch, and then rushes to the strong man and beats him away, winning the game. At this time, the girl's hat drops, and Meliodas and the others find that she is Diane. It turns out that the gas of the magic mushroom makes people's bodies shrink, so Diane, who is from the giant clan, becomes the same as a normal human. Elizabeth becomes as small as the fingers, and she hides in Diane's clothes. Diane is very happy because she can have intimate interactions with Meliodas when she becomes small, but Meliodas still has to compete in the fighting festival, so he turns down Diane. At this point, the second game is coming to an end. The two sides of the game are a muscular man and the Holy Knight Hauser. Hauser can cast magic to control storms, and he easily defeats the muscular man, winning the game. In the third game, King is going to fight an old man, but he doesn't want to hurt the old man, so he doesn't use his full strength. However, the old man suddenly attacks King and pushes him out of the arena with great force. King lost the game because he underestimates his opponent. In the last game, Meliodas will battle against Ban. Ban is inferior to Meliodas in force, but he is immortal, so no matter how many times Meliodas defeats him, he can recover in an instant. But according to the rules, Meliodas does not need to kill Ban to win the game, and what he needs to do is to make him leave the arena. So he beats Ban away and wins the game. Next, Hauser will battle against Diane. Hauser blows the ladder into the sky with a huge storm, but Diane can control the earth. She turns her body into the metal element in the earth and gains a lot of weight. Now she can't be blown into the sky, and she directly crushes Hauser with her body, winning the game. Meliodas will then fight against the old man who defeated King. The old man is also a holy knight and was once Meliodas' comrade. He wants Meliodas to explain why he betrayed the kingdom. Meliodas, after recognizing the old man, seriously shows that he has never betrayed the kingdom. In fact, the old man never believes that Meliodas has really rebelled, and the reason why he participates in the fighting festival is that he wants to confirm this in person. After hearing Meliodas' answer, the old man chooses to believe Meliodas, and he throws in the towel. So in the final, Meliodas will fight against Diane. They don't need to fight at all, because no matter which of them wins the championship, they can get the prize, Diane's Warhammer. Just then, Meliodas suddenly drives away all the spectators. It turns out that several holy knights are about to attack the town, and Meliodas doesn't want to hurt the spectators, so he chases them away. In fact, the fighting festival is a trap set by the holy knights just to lure Meliodas and the others to appear. This time, there is a special person in the team of the Holy Knight. She is Elizabeth's sister and the second princess of the kingdom. The Holy Knight leader knows that Meliodas will not attack the second princess, so he has the second princess carry a magic crystal, which can seal Meliodas directly. When Elizabeth sees that Meliodas is sealed, she immediately takes the crystal away. At this time, the second princess guard traps Elizabeth with a magic wall, intending to take her away. It turns out that he is the strong man who was defeated by Diane at the fighting festival. Ban can only kidnap the second princess and threatens the guard to let Elizabeth go. Meanwhile, King is fighting Jericho and Guilla alone, whom he would have been able to defeat easily, but then the deputy leader of the Holy Knights, Helbram, attacks King. Helbram is also a fairy, and he is very familiar with King's skills, which puts King in a tough fight. Jericho and Guilla take the opportunity to escape, and then they attack Ban, saving the second princess. But they want to kill Elizabeth directly and snatch the magic crystal, which the second princess disagrees on. So the second princess asks the guard to trap Jericho and Guilla, but Guilla has released the magic bomb in advance. The second princess tries to protect Elizabeth, but is directly killed by the magic bomb. When the guard is distracted by this, Jericho and Guilla escape from the magic wall, and they take the opportunity to defeat the guard. Just as they are about to kill Elizabeth and snatch the magic crystal, Meliodas destroys the magic crystal and appears in front of everyone. Half of Meliodas' body is covered in black marks, which makes him look terrifying. He becomes more powerful than before, defeating Jericho and Guilla in an instant. After that, he heads to support King, and soon defeats Helbram. But Helbram is able to instantly replenish his mana by absorbing the life points of other holy knights. In the capital of the kingdom, a group of holy knights are giving him mana. Helbram gains near infinite mana and eventually knocks down Meliodas. Fortunately, at this time, Diane returns to her original size and gets her Warhammer, with which she causes a terrifying earthquake. The Holy Knights lost too much mana in the battle, and Helbram can't get more mana now, so they can only retreat. After Diane fights off a strong enemy, the surviving Elizabeth embraces Meliodas tightly. Meliodas and his companions all survive, but Elizabeth's sister died. The guard decides to bury the second princess in her favorite place. Elizabeth vows that she will stop the atrocities of the Holy Knights and return the kingdom to peace. The 7 deadly sins and Elizabeth are just halfway through their journey. They will find other companions and gain the final victory. When they know that Gowther, one of the 7 deadly sins, appears in a forest, they move to the village near the forest. Meliodas and his companions need to go outside in search of some ingredients. At this time, Elizabeth says that she can buy things in the town, but Meliodas thinks she will be captured by the Holy Knights. So he takes the chance to let Elizabeth put on different sexy outfits, claiming that they can prevent her from being discovered by others. But in fact, he just wants to see Elizabeth in these clothes. In the end, Elizabeth comes to town wearing her original clothes. She is not discovered by soldiers on patrol, but by a scholar. Luckily, the scholar seems to be a wanted criminal as well, so he won't report Elizabeth's whereabouts. Soon after, a knight who seems to be Gowther appears in the forest, and Meliodas and his companions immediately rush towards the forest. By this time, a group of holy knights has spotted Gowther, and they are fighting. Meliodas and others arrive to support Gowther, and the scholar that Elizabeth met earlier also comes to the battlefield. During the fierce fight, the holy knights start to attack Gowther, trying to kill him, but the scholar directly catches their attacks with his hands. He tells others that the one who is wearing Gowther's armor is not Gowther, while he is the real one. Previously, when the 7 deadly sins were taking action together, Gowther had always been wearing heavy armor, so his teammates don't know what he really looks like, and it is their first time seeing Gowther's face. When the Holy Knights learn Gowther's identity, they don't want to kill him because their mission is to kill the knight in Gowther's armor, and they just want to complete this task. So Gowther personally cuts off the knight's head, trying to end the fighting directly in this way to avoid causing more casualties. The Holy Knights also don't want to fight the 7 deadly sins, so they take the knight's head and leave. In fact, Gowther knows that cutting off the knight's head will not kill the knight, because the knight is not a human but a monster. This monster used to be a holy knight, but he lost his mind and turned into a crazy monster. Gowther, in order to curb the madness of the monster, puts him in armor, but now the madness of the monster is irrepressible. After a fierce battle, they kill the monster. They speculate that the Holy Knight mutated after receiving the power of the demons, and eventually turned into such a monster. The recent recruits of Holy Knights are made with the power of the demons, which is very scary. The Holy Knight has 2 leaders. One is Hendrickson and the other is Dreyfus. Hendrickson always believes that the Holy Knights need a great war to prove their worth, so he wants to do something really crazy. He wants to bring the demons back to the human world, and then let the Holy Knights use the power of the demons to defeat the demons. In ancient times, demons have been sealed by the gods. There are only a very small number of demons in the world now. If a large number of demons come to the world, terrible disasters will occur. Dreyfus recently learns of Hendrickson's idea, and he is shocked by this. He also believes that the Holy Knights need a great war to prove their worth, but he chooses the 7 deadly sins as his enemy. 10 years ago, it was he and Hendrickson who killed the former head of the Holy Knights and blamed the crime on the 7 deadly sins. Now Dreyfus regrets it because he knows Hendrickson is a crazy guy and he can't stop Hendrickson. Meanwhile, a mage suddenly appears at Melioda's tavern. She can cast teleportation magic, so she is able to teleport herself to anywhere she wants. The mage can also take others with her when teleporting, so she grabs Elizabeth and Hawk, teleporting them to the capital of the kingdom. Anxious, Meliodas decides to stop looking for the remaining members of the 7 deadly sins, and directly head to the capital to fight the Holy Knights and save Elizabeth. They are now far from the capital, so Diane throws Meliodas, Ban, and Gowther out. With Diane's great force, they are directly thrown to the capital, which saves a lot of time. Meliodas, Ban, and Gowther soon fall outside the capital. Many Holy Knights are defending the capital. They then fight the Holy Knights and soon defeat them. At the same time, another group of people attacks the capital, and they come from another kingdom, whose king is known as King Arthur. Learning of the Holy Knights' atrocities, King Arthur comes to fight them. He uses his army to force Hendrickson to come out and negotiate with him, but his army is just an illusion. In fact, he only brings 1 female mage here. King Arthur offers to see the king, but Hendrickson refuses him, so King Arthur starts a duel with him. Elizabeth is put in a cell, and Hawk breaks the door and knocks out the guards, letting Elizabeth escape. However, she cannot leave the palace at this time, because it is a battlefield outside, so she decides to go first to her father, the king of the kingdom. At this time, King and Diane are heading for the capital. King summons a monster whose mouth is a portal that can teleport him and Diane there. Since the monster's favorite food is pigs, King did not summon him before. Melioda's pet is a pig, and he may hate the monster. Immediately afterwards, Diane tries to get into the monster's mouth, but with her giant body, she is accidentally stuck. King has to push Diane in with his own hands. He looks at Diane's body and suddenly feels very shy. Unfortunately, after Diane enters the capital, she happens to encounter a group of Holy Knights, including Dreyfus. She is unable to defeat so many Holy Knights and is quickly defeated. When Diane escapes, Hellbram and others are pursuing her. Hellbram casts magic to destroy buildings in the city without regard for the safety of its citizens. Noticing that the citizens are in danger, Diane immediately gives up running away and protects the citizens with her body, which impresses Hauser and Guela. They decide to help Diane fight back against the Holy Knights. They fight for a while, but soon Dreyfus arrives, and they are eventually defeated. Luckily, Gowther comes to help and makes Guela dodge Dreyfus' attacks. But the next second, Dreyfus pierces Gowther's body. Meanwhile, he falls into a nightmare. He once killed the former Holy Knight leader, and now he is in guilt and pain for it. It turns out that when Dreyfus stabbed Gowther, Gowther also cast his magic to trap Dreyfus in a nightmare. Gowther is injured and unconscious, while Dreyfus breaks down because of the nightmare. Gilthunder has to take Dreyfus out of the battlefield. Hellbram then tries to kill Diane, and at this time, King arrives in time to block the attack for Diane. Seeing King, Hellbram removes his disguise and changes into his original form. He is also a fairy and was once King's friend. King was originally the king of the fairy race, but he was eager to take risks, so he left his homeland and joined the 7 deadly sins. During this time, the fairies were betrayed by humans, and many of them died. After that, Halbrand turns into a human form, which he thinks allows him to keep the hatred in mind, and begins to take revenge on other humans. He knows that a lot of humans will be killed under Hendrickson's plan, so he is willing to help Hendrickson. Now Halbrand has turned back into a fairy, and he wants to fight King. He believes that if King had not left his homeland, the fairies would not have been invaded by humans. King is also guilty of this, but he can't throw in the towel. He must defeat Halbrand for the sake of his companions. In the end, King manages to kill Halbrand and win the battle. Now let's look at another fight. After some time, Hendrickson defeats King Arthur. As he is about to execute King Arthur, Meliodas stops him. When Meliodas and his companions arrive in the capital, Meliodas' companions fight the other Holy Knights, while Meliodas directly confronts the Holy Knight leader Hendrickson. At this time, Gilthunder arrives and offers to fight Meliodas in Hendrickson's place. During the fight, he once again says that he has become stronger than the 7 deadly sins, but this is not a fact. It turns out that what he said is a code word. When Gilthunder was a child, Meliodas encouraged him to train hard and become stronger than the 7 deadly sins. And since then, these words have become a proof of their friendship. Gilthunder is the lover of the kingdom's first princess, so the Holy Knights imprison the first princess to force Gilthunder to deal with the 7 deadly sins. When Meliodas attacks the capital, the first princess finally finds an opportunity to escape. The first princess comes to the battlefield and tells Gilthunder that she is out of danger. Gilthunder cuts off Hendrickson's arm in an instant, and now he's going to help Meliodas of his own volition. Gilthunder's rebellion causes a turnaround instantly, and Hendrickson is quickly defeated. At this time, the mage who previously kidnapped Elizabeth casts magic to bring Meliodas and the others into illusions. King Arthur's mage immediately lifts the magic and defeats her. Then King Arthur's mage reveals her true appearance, and she is the sin of gluttony in the 7 deadly sins, Merlin. Merlin detects Elizabeth's location and leads her companions to the king's room, where Elizabeth stays by the king's side. Then Dreyfus comes here. He once murdered the former Holy Knight leader with Hendrickson for selfish desires and blamed the crime on the 7 deadly sins. Now feeling guilty and regretful about this, he surrenders to the king and is willing to accept any punishment. So the king orders to remove Dreyfus from office and puts him in a dungeon. The battle between the 7 deadly sins and the Holy Knights should have ended, but at this moment, someone attacks the castle again. Hendrickson, who was originally seriously injured, recovers, and he even makes all the Holy Knights who have drunk the blood of the demons mutated through a spell. These Holy Knights all turn into monsters and begin to frantically attack all humans. Meliodas' companions head to fight the monsters, and Meliodas challenges Hendrickson again. But now Hendrickson is stronger than ever, stabbing Meliodas in an instant and capturing Elizabeth. Dreyfus knows that Hendrickson is about to carry out his crazy plan, so he escapes from the dungeon and tries to stop Hendrickson. Dreyfus is so powerful that he quickly wounds Hendrickson and gains the upper hand, but Hendrickson gains the power of the demons, and no matter how many injuries he has, he recovers instantly. So Dreyfus tries to kill Hendrickson directly with his strongest attack, but he fails. When they are fighting, Elizabeth is accidentally seriously injured. Dreyfus' mana runs out quickly, but Hendrickson still has a lot of mana. In the end, Hendrickson kills Dreyfus and wins the battle. After Dreyfus' death, Meliodas rushes to the battlefield. Although he is injured, after seeing Elizabeth seriously injured, he awakens the power beyond his limits out of anger. Meliodas begins attacking Hendrickson like crazy. His companions, after defeating the monsters, also come to help. Under the attacks of everyone, Hendrickson can't resist even if he is immortal. He doesn't have any chance to fight back, and can only passively defend against their attacks. Hendrickson has to retreat into a cave, which houses the bodies of a demon, and this is the source of Hendrickson's power. This demon is the one who was killed by Ban previously. After obtaining his body, Hendrickson boosts his power with the blood of the demon and creates a new group of Holy Knights. Ban angrily attacks Hendrickson, and his power causes the surface to shatter, creating a large pit. Hendrickson falls into the pit and loses his tracks. After that, they also enter the pit, and they find a man-made cave underground, which exists hundreds of years ago. Deep inside the cave, they meet Hendrickson. Behind Hendrickson is a larger dead body of a demon, which is a higher-level demon. It turns out that Hendrickson drank the blood of the previous demon just to strengthen his physical strength and allow his body to receive more powerful power. His real purpose is to obtain the power of this high-level demon and then resurrect more demons. Hendrickson immediately injects the blood of the high-level demon into his body, and then his appearance changes, and his power is enhanced. At this point on the ground, Gilthunder has told the truth about everything to the other holy knights, who then know that the 7 deadly sins are wronged and that the real culprit is Hendrickson. Immediately afterwards, the 7 deadly sins suddenly return from the underground. Hendrickson also comes to the ground in pursuit of them. Meliodas tries to attack Hendrickson, but his sword can't even pierce Hendrickson's skin. The other holy knights want to help Meliodas, so Hendrickson casts magic to create black snow. All holy knights who touch the black snowflakes die instantly, and the remaining holy knights dodge the black snowflakes while fighting Hendrickson, but their attacks can't hurt Hendrickson at all. King and Diane attack Hendrickson together but cause no harm to him. Hendrickson's counterattack quickly defeats everyone. Meliodas uses his body to block the attack, preventing Elizabeth from being attacked, and he is seriously injured again. Hendrickson has always wanted to capture Elizabeth because of the blood of the gods inside her body, and he needs to sacrifice Elizabeth to resurrect the demons. Hendrickson knows that Meliodas will desperately protect Elizabeth if he is not killed, so he attacks the unconscious Meliodas again. Just then, Hawk blocks the attack for Meliodas and dies instantly. Hawk is Meliodas' pet and his closest friend, and Elizabeth is also very fond of Hawk. Hawk's death awakens Elizabeth's power of God, and she uses her dormant powers to heal all the wounded people around her. In fact, Elizabeth has always had this magical power, but she didn't know it before. Previously, when the second princess was about to die, she was also affected by this power and finally survived. But no one knows that the second princess is still alive. Once again, Hendrickson unleashes powerful magic in an attempt to kill everyone. This time Elizabeth also joins the fight, unleashing the magic of the gods against the magic of the demons. In the end, the magic of the gods destroys the magic of the demons, allowing a wider range of people to get recovered. Unfortunately, dead creatures cannot be resurrected. Elizabeth then faints from running out of her mana. Meliodas puts the first princess in care of Elizabeth, and he and his companions are about to kill Hendrickson to avenge Hawk. Previously, they were exhausted by continuous battles, and that's why they were defeated by Hendrickson. With the help of Elizabeth, they are back to their best condition. This time Hendrickson can't defeat them anymore. But they still can't cause enough damage to Hendrickson, who can recover immediately from injuries. If they can't inflict a fatal injury on Hendrickson in one go, they can't defeat him. So Meliodas thinks of a way to defeat him. He asks Gowther to tell everyone about the method secretly through telepathy. After that, he steps forward to engage Hendrickson in close combat, while the others attack Hendrickson from a distance. Strangely, the attacks of others cause a lot of damage to Meliodas, but Hendrickson is barely injured. Hendrickson thinks if he continues to fight like this, he will definitely win. Just then, Meliodas' companions directly attack Meliodas. Hendrickson is puzzled, but the next second, he is shocked. Meliodas suddenly possesses super powerful magic. It turns out that Meliodas has the ability to deflect attacks, and just now he secretly stored all of the attacks of others, and now he is about to release all of them. This time, Meliodas' attack eliminates Hendrickson, and he wins. But at the same time, Meliodas is badly injured because he withstood the excessive attacks, and he can hardly stand. After waking up, Elizabeth helps Meliodas to his feet. Then the king also comes to the battlefield. The holy knights confess their crimes to the king and ask him to punish them severely. The king does not sentence them. However, he announces that from now on, all holy knights will have no holidays and that they must help the citizens until all the damage they have caused is repaired. Also, the king proves the innocence of the 7 deadly sins in public, helping them to get rid of their grievances. More surprisingly, Hawk doesn't die completely. He turns into a baby pig and returns to Meliodas' side. Later, the second princess also returns to the capital. Seeing her, Elizabeth is very surprised. They hug tight, enjoying the long-lost happiness. The war is over. All of them return to a peaceful life. A few days later, Gilthunder visits Meliodas, telling him that he decides to travel. Previously, Gilthunder has done a lot of bad things under Hendrickson's order, and now he wants to help as many people as possible to atone for his past actions. Other holy knights make a similar choice, and they are all grateful to the 7 deadly sins. As for Elizabeth, she has left Meliodas' team and returned to the palace. She misses the days when she is taking adventures with Meliodas. Today, the 7 deadly sins are leaving the kingdom, and they are invited by King Arthur to travel to his country. Elizabeth wants to say goodbye to the 7 deadly sins, but Meliodas lets the giant pig come directly outside the palace. He invites Elizabeth to travel with him, and Elizabeth happily agrees and leaves with him. After that, Elizabeth and the 7 deadly sins embark on a new journey. In the future, they will face more adventures and challenges, but nothing can stop them, because they are the best team ever. The first season of the 7 Deadly Sins ends with a very uplifting ending. The 7 Deadly Sins, who have been wronged, finally prove their innocence and become a hero of the kingdom, while the vile villains pay the price they deserve for their evil deeds. Initially, Hendrickson was much stronger than Meliodas, and he had a lot of supporters. But in the end, Meliodas wins because Hendrickson's supporters all begin to support Meliodas. People may occasionally be deceived by evil lies, but eventually, they will always discover the truth. At that time, evil will be devoured by lies, and good will surely triumph over evil. In the end, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'll make more excellent anime recaps afterward. Thanks for your watching, and see you next time.